For that setup, Peter. I appreciate it. Mitt Romney is with us now exclusively. Governor, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Matt. Good to be with you.
Depending who you listen to this morning, Governor, you are either a traitor who proves that the establishment of the Republican Party is so afraid that they can't control Donald Trump that they'll do anything to stop him, or you're a hero who has finally put this race into perspective. For the people who think you're a hero, they're asking a question, and that is, why did you wait so long? Tell me about the timing.
Well, I've wanted to be involved in the campaign, if you will, as a bit of a referee. And when there were some foul balls, be able to call them and see if I can't keep people, if you will, guided on the path to becoming our next president. But the time came when Donald Trump's outrage had reached such a level that I simply had to speak out. I mean, you get to the point where you say, your grandkids are going to say to you, Papa, what did you do to stop Donald Trump? And I had to finally get out.
Calling this an unprecedented event in modern political history in this country. A former nominee of a party in a scathing takedown of the favorite to become the next nominee. But this isn't a typical frontrunner. This is a guy who has survived moments in this campaign that would have derailed anybody else. Do you think your speech will matter?
I don't know if it will or not, but I know I couldn't stand silent anymore. You can't have someone whose policies are so far from the views of my party become our nominee, and someone who has demonstrated over time that he doesn't have the temperament or the personal qualities to be a great president.
You said he's dangerous for the country, dangerous for working Americans. You attacked him on his economic policies, his foreign policy, his personality, what you call his third-grade antics, his business acumen. Here's a quote. But wait, you say, isn't he a huge business success that knows what he's talking about? No, he isn't. No, he doesn't. His bankruptcies have crushed small businesses and the men and women who worked for them. He inherited his business. He didn't create it. Let me take you back 4 years, all right, and listen to this.
Donald Trump has shown an extraordinary ability to understand how our economy works, to create jobs for the American people. I spent my life in the private sector, not quite as successful as this guy, but successful nonetheless.
That was 4 years ago, same two guys, Donald Trump and Mitt Romney.
Oh, he's a successful guy. He's made a lot of money. But he hasn't been uniformly successful, and he's far from a business genius. Look, Trump University, Trump Steaks, Trump Mortgage, Trump Vitamin Company, one after the other, failure after failure. So just because he's made a lot of money, one, you don't measure your life by how much money you make, but just because he's made a lot of money doesn't mean that his economic policies are right for America.
But the people who are angry at you this morning, Governor Romney, are saying, wait a second, he willingly welcomed the endorsement of Donald Trump 4 years ago, even though deep in the birther movement and had made other incendiary comments. Why go 180 degrees on the guy now?
Well, first of all, I was seeking his endorsement. Now he's seeking mine. That's very different. A lot of people endorse me. I wouldn't endorse for president. And secondly, a lot has happened in the last year. And frankly, had I heard him say the things I've heard him say now, I wouldn't have welcomed his endorsement. When he calls George W. Bush a liar, when he says that Putin is a strong and powerful leader, popular with his people, when he mocks a reporter because of their disability, when he attacks women based on their looks or their menstrual cycle, you basically got a guy that is out of the kind of realm that I'd want to have supporting me.
Did you beg him for his endorsement 4 years ago?
I was welcoming his endorsement. I was happy to have it. I was looking for as many endorsers as I could possibly have. But when it comes to who I would support for president, there are a lot of folks who endorse me I would not want to see as president.
You laid out a plan in your speech yesterday. You said, if the other candidates can find common ground, I believe we can nominate a person who can win the general election and who will represent the values and policies of conservatism. You went on. You said, given the current delegate selection process, this means that I would vote for Marco Rubio in Florida, for John Kasich in Ohio, and for Ted Cruz, or whichever one of the other two contenders has the best chance of beating Mr. Trump in a given state. You are calling for nothing less than a suppress Donald Trump movement that will lead to Cleveland and a contested convention.
Well, there's no question I'm going to do everything within the normal political bounds to make sure that we don't nominate Donald Trump. I think he would be terribly unfit for office. I don't think he has the temperament to be president. And so I want to see one of the other three become the nominee. Now, by the way, after March 15th, I think you'll see it narrow down to one or two contenders opposing Donald Trump, and I intend to support one of them.
But leading up to March 15th, do you want Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz to back off and let John Kasich win Ohio? Do you want John Ted Cruz to back off and let Marco Rubio win Florida? And if we get to Cleveland and a contested convention, how are these millions of voters, some of whom have come to the process in the party for the first time because of Donald Trump, how are they going to feel to have put Donald Trump in the lead and watch the establishment wing of the party pull the rug out from under it?
Well, first of all, there are a lot of people, establishment or not, who agree with me that Donald Trump should not be president of the United States and don't want to see him become the Republican nominee. Right now, it's about 65% of Republicans who'd like someone else. So that's the way politics works. You get behind the people you support, you fight for them, and the person who wins through the process is the one who becomes your nominee.
You didn't endorse anybody yesterday. That's also angered a lot of people. They say it can't just be about anybody but Trump. Why didn't you endorse?
Well, there are 3 people on the stage who all endorse me and are friends, actually 4, including Donald Trump, and I want to see how they do on March 15th. You know, we get along. I doubt we're going to spend a lot of time together now, but we're going to see on March 15th, I think, a narrowing of the field, and at that point, I wouldn't be surprised if I endorsed one of those guys.
Not endorsing someone now, Governor, have you left the door open just wide enough for you to ride through it on a white horse? Do you want to be considered as an alternative to save this party if it gets down to a contested convention in July?
No, no. The people who can save this party are Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, or John Kasich. We're going to get a sense within a few days of who that person might be, but I'm going to be supporting that person and doing everything I can to make sure they become the nominee of the party.
I'm going to be a little stubborn on this. Under any circumstances, Governor, if large numbers of people in the establishment wing of the Republican Party come to you and say, Mitt, you're the guy who can save the day, under any circumstances, would you be a part of this presidential race as a candidate?
There are no circumstances I can foresee where that would possibly happen. Something else.
I can foresee.
No reasonable scenario I can imagine.
Just slam the door on it. Close the door. Unambiguous. You will not run for president.
I'm not running for president, and I won't run for president. But let me tell you this. The term establishment is a real mistake. There are mainstream Republicans who believe in conservative values. There are people, whether they're established or not, there are people who have been around the political world, have watched what's going on. What's happening with Donald Trump is recognizing people are angry, as they should be. But he's channeling that anger in a way that will not help working families. There are other Republicans who believe in the principles that will actually lift people out of poverty and create good jobs for the American people.
Last question, the tone of this race. These candidates have called